Okay, so this is my first video in a little while. I have been busy on Twitch. You can check out the link in the description to catch me streaming live, making music and hanging out. Today, I wanted to go over a concept that I've gone over a few times in my previous videos, but I wanted to make an explicit video on it because I feel like it's quite important. And these are subtle elements that you put in your track and how they can make a very profound effect and help take your music to the next level. So I'll be going through a beat that I made with this in mind. We've also partnered with Unison audio for this video for their Midi chord pack. I'm sure you've seen that all around, but I wanted to give my honest review on it and use it as part of this so you guys can apply it directly to your own music. They didn't tell me to say anything explicit, so I'm not going to say that this hack will change your life, but I think there are some very useful things about it, and I'd love to cover that today. So you can check out the link in the description for a 60% off code. Without further ado, let's start this. Here was the set of chords that I went for initially. The benefit of MIDI versus actual sample is the ability to take things, make them your own sound, make them your own tone, as well as to be able to effectively see what's going on here, right? My particular issue with music theory and chord building is the actual theory section of it and being able to take something that I like the sound of, especially with chords, and dictate it in a effective way in order to learn the most I can out of it to apply it to my future production or chord making. And to see the actual notes, the chord changes, what key it's in, how they move it around is super helpful in my opinion in order for me to learn effectively. So what I did with this is actually I just took the last two chords here. I liked the beginning, but I liked this movement right here, and I wanted to build out on my own and try and see if I can challenge myself to expand my knowledge. And that's what I think the major application here is. Of course, the Unison pack has more than just a few. They have different keys and it's relative major or minor, as well as a bunch of different minor progressions, a bunch of different major progressions. I went through extensively a lot of these on stream, and I liked the majority of them. A lot of times MIDI chord packs are kind of like sample packs. They're just there to fill space in order to bring in value, a lot of them, but I actually do like quite a lot of these ones. So yeah, I just took these last two chords because I wanted to challenge myself and see what I could come up with. So what that turned into, which you can watch the whole process on stream, was a set of 4 chords. And so these were the 2 original chords, one of which I changed the voicing slightly. I wanted to go for a more neo-soul vibe, so that's why I chose some of these particular voicings. You can see here I also applied a little bit of strum along with some extra notes and different velocities. So let's just hear what I have down right now. So what I did next was I put them on a Juno 106. I added an EQ, a multiband dynamics to cut the mids a little bit. You know how I like to do that. I added a bit of Valhalla vintage verb, some short space, as well as a compressor. And here this velocity MIDI is actually pretty interesting. I learned this trick from my friend OK Sammy. I'm sure you guys all know him. It's actually a MIDI effect that you can place on a MIDI channel. And what it will do is that it will modulate velocities of each note based on a certain function of randomness from the mean, as well as the overall output. So if you want it to be harsher or softer there. And I've been using this a lot on especially my chords to give it more of a human feel, because originally from this MIDI pack, all the velocities are constant. So let's take a listen to what our chords sound like right now. So that's going to be the main structure of our song right there. Next, we'll be talking about some other melodic additions. So what I did here was I just have a operator with a saw wave along with RC20, along with H delay here and some multiband dynamics. So we can hear all our melodics and chords all stemming from the original MIDI pack all together now. So to start off my drums, I actually started with this little rim right here, which I EQ'd and put a vintage verb as well as stereo imaging. Just to announce, most of these samples come from the Tech Lun and various count packs, as well as some Cookin' Soul packs, because I know everyone asked me about it. So next is where some of these subtle elements can come in. and that gives that impression of rhythm. And what I've done here is panned one left, one right, as well as delayed them both. So this is what they sound like in context with the clap. You can hear that it's very subtle, the changes that I make, but it adds a lot. So before we continue, let's just listen to all of our drums together. You can hear a lot of subtle elements in the background. Some may be more prevalent, some may be less. So going off of that, I built the chorus, and this chorus section relies heavily on three main things. And these three main things are not exactly what you think they would be. Sure, it can be the kick and the clap and the hi-hats, but what it actually relies on are very small accents right here. So if you can hear the kick pattern, it's pretty standard, but this is what happens when we add just a low end one shot that's being delayed quite a lot to that. And so it's not that clean. It doesn't even sound that loud in the context of the whole mix, but it adds so much movement to it. And partnered with our elements from the intro, you're already moving without the major hats or claps. These subtle elements right here, without it, the beat would be 90% the same, but it wouldn't have that last little thing. So these are the percussion elements together. The theory behind this is that I wanted something consistent, especially if you can hear with the kick, it's very repetitive. I wanted this BPM to be at a walking pace, for this to be sort of like a moving song. I find that repetitive rhythms here, especially ones that are interesting, can give that feeling. So I actually just have a hi-hat that's a tech lun hi-hat. I had to bring it back a bit, as well as a one-shot count that accentuates right on the kick. And so altogether, without the snare, this is what the drums sound like. And you can see the subtleties and the difference they make. So let's do it before and after. One being taking out all the subtle percussion that's not major, and one after showing it. So this is before. And this is after. And these subtle differences add a lot to the track. Finally, what we have here is the bass. You can see follows the bass notes of the original MIDI chords. That is the power of MIDI. Because you are able to see everything very clearly, you can structure your tracks around it differently. So if we play just the bass line with the drums, we can hear what the bass line sounds altogether. Finally, what I did was just add this sort of background chime. I think texture is very important, and it is another aspect. Texture can help make something quite simple, which is essentially just 3 or 4 layers of melody, to become quite a bit more complex. So thank you for listening. Go check out the Unison Audio MIDI chord pack in the description using my code if you found it helpful. I just got an OP1. Soon enough, our videos will consist of this guy, which will be fun, and I'll make some more videos coming up in the future. But for now, go check us out on Twitch in the description. Peace.